the reasons I would ask people to do things or the reasons I would give for why I was doing them were seldom realistic with what was actually going on. So that's Dave was, initially he was just my boss, and then after I'd worked there for a few years, we started hanging out and doing stuff together. I think he actually went on a couple of the boat camping trips with me. He actually held some guns for me when I was moving up here, so there were details like that, I would tell him, well, hold these guns for me because I don't want to drive them through Canada, when maybe that wasn't necessarily the reason why I didn't want to drive them through Canada, type of thing. So.
Was he probably your closest friend down there?
Yeah, over the years, I would say. Probably. But, at the same time, I didn't really talk to Dave. There were really only a few subjects that we would really talk about. So.
Not like,
I'm sorry. So like what was that you talked about?
Football mostly.
Oh, that's right.
Football, work stuff.
I think I've seen Dave maybe 4 or 5 times, usually if we're in town. Got some reason to stop and chat with him, and he's never not been in Packer gear.
Yeah.
I think any of our
It started
visits.
out as quite the love-hate relationship between me and him. So.
Why? Who were you? What's your team?
Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So, plus, when I started watching football in the Army, the reason I was never interested in sports, but I had one of the guys in my squad in the Army was like a diehard Vikings fan, and he absolutely hated the Packers. And it was his hatred for the Packers that actually got me interested in football. The guy would be on his knees in front of the TV screaming at Brett Favre, I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. Up until that point, I couldn't even tell you what a touchdown was. So that was the reason I started. I became a Vikings fan because of him, and then I met Dave, and he was a huge Packers fan.
so even more reason to be a Vikings fan.
Right. Yeah, if your boss is a Packers fan.
So did you rub it in when Favre jumped over to the Vikings and
No,
beat the
I
Packers?
actually hated that. I was ready to jump ship on the Vikings when Favre came to them.
really? You didn't see that as a good thing?
That's I couldn't do that. That's sacrilegious.
So you didn't have conversations with Dave like you did with Matthew Perkins?
No, we never.
Different kind of friendship?
That was the last. Every time, Perk, I don't know, he was a different kind of character, so I wasn't that worried about that. But every time prior to that I had ever talked to anybody about anything, it always got me in trouble. So up until I met Perk in the Army, I just didn't talk to anybody, really.
What are you talking about when you were younger? You get in trouble with your
up until
parents.
the time of 17. 18,
Yeah.
I had friends growing up, and they would constantly open their mouths and, ruin my good image, so.
You weren't worried about that with Perkins?
Sounds like you had some pretty strict rules, though. So.
Yeah. Perk he had issues, so I thought, plus he was kind of antisocial too, so he was, but, that being said, you never be too careful. It's like now I haven't talked to him for years, I don't even know what he's doing, so. Anyway.
He works at a hair salon. Would that surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit.
He works at a hair salon. That surprised us. That was not what I expected.
She's still in Ohio? Cleveland? Toledo or something?
I don't remember.
I was thinking it was New York, but I could be wrong.
No. I know, but I can't remember. I
Yeah.
can find out and tell you, but I don't remember if it was Ohio or not.
He didn't look like a hairstylist?
No, he was a different character. It doesn't surprise me though, because he was really quiet, but he was, salvageable. He was starting to come out of his shell a little bit in the Army, so